All right, so if there was a multiverse, fam,
You would not want to come to this one, that's for sure. I want to get out of this universe. And
what if in the
fast as
multiverse
possible.
2.0 never ended?
Whoa.
The 2.0 verse.
The 2.0 verse.
Wookverse 2.0.
I think probably the shelf life of 2.0 is probably the exact amount of time that it was supposed to be.
That was supposed to be on the timeline.
That was
Right.
not sustainable. That was not a sustainable era.
Accurate.
That was a short universe.
Right, exactly. You would
The
want
convergence.
you don't want to pause
right.
and go back to there or anything like that. Like it's a nice one to look back on. And now, if you could go back and like redo Coventry or something like that, maybe don't go.
What if there was a multiverse that had the fucking fish being like the spin doctors are? Can you imagine? What the
Although the
fuck?
spin doctors are pretty huge.
Yeah,
Oh
I don't
my
think
God,
I
the
see
fucking
fish
big.
getting that big.
Spin Doctors 4.0 has been like nothing else, man. The quarantine did them so good, man. Shit.
What is happening?
Nice. There we go. Fucking
Hello, and
two
welcome
fucking
to
princes, man. Fucking
Two
princes.
fams. Oh my gosh! Real quick, look who is in the chat. I just noticed
Oh,
the man,
shout
the
out.
myth, the legend.
The
How you
legend.
doing, Father Chris? Good to see you. Well, see your text anyway, or your message anyway. Amazing. I hope you're doing good, man. Congrats! Like it's awesome. That makes my
That's the-
day.
Absolutely, right? We are so glad to see you.
For
That's
sure.
amazing. Fantastic. I hope you're feeling better.
What's
We're
up,
on
Walker?
weekend. Yeah, what's up? Look up there.
Not much. Not much.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. It was a good weekend for music, that's for sure. Did you guys check out Tab at all?
I listened to some of the tab, and I know Fam checked some out.
I did. I checked out the tab. It was incredible. Again, they've got a lot of momentum, I think, and a lot of energy from, like they were saying before, where they had just started playing together again for basically the first time right at Sweetwater. So rolled on into the next couple dates and had some absolute barn burners. I personally like there was a couple jams in there, Blaze On, Everything's Right. In particular, that what I like to call with Tab is walk-off jams, right? Which is a little different, right, than what we think of with walk-offs. We go like Squirming Coil is a walk-off, right, with Fish. But with Tab, I always think of it was when the horns walk off, right? The horns leave the stage, and then it's kind of a jam with just the other instruments. And there, Blaze On and Everything's Right. Both of those are kind of those moments in a couple of the shows, and like they are phenomenal, you know. And again, when you add the horns on all the other sections, it's just tremendous. So yeah, really good stuff.
What was the ratio of Fish to actual Tab songs?
The ratio? I don't know. It's probably 1 to 4.
Right, 1 Tab song to 4 Fish songs.
Okay.
Did he play
Yeah.
first tape again?
Yes, that's a standard.
Yes, that's a
you
standard.
You're
are
gonna
going
get
to
a first
see
tube every other night.
absolutely 100%. You were going to see Jedi Trey coming out for you. So there's some standards, and I think this is a really good topic. You know, we'd been talking about, Kev, in particular with your kind of frustration with a lot of the tab shows having mostly Fish songs, right, or having a lot of Fish songs, and you're wanting to hear the
I want to hear Tab songs.
yeah, exactly.
We were looking at those 2001 set lists today. Not a Fish song to be found on there, you know.
That's pretty nice.
30-minute Mr. Completely, you know, a 4-song second set. It was pretty off the hook.
Hey, fam, can you explain Jedi Trey real quick?
Yeah, I saw that question in the chat there from Anderson. Anderson is a good friend. Good to see Anderson there in the chat. When I think of Jedi Trey, I think of First Tube, right? And when he's holding up the guitar, and when he's kind of going back and forth using the effects, right? And we've talked to Trey's guitar rig, and he's talked to us a little bit about what that. And we've kind of gone back and forth figuring out what is that when he does that. And I think we actually believe that he's got a button now that says Jedi button. There's a Jedi button that he hits right before he does First Tube. And then that's kind of what he's doing. And he's kind of going back and forth.
You're getting a feedback loop or
Exactly. It's big rock star. It's basically the biggest rock star moment. I think Trey, I think he's really stepped more into being okay with being the star and being like the head man, but wow, that's his big moment. And so for Tab, that happens almost every other show, right? Because it's just a rotational thing and they have a little less in the rotation.
But I feel like when he does it in Tab, he definitely does, he does his ending thing. But I'll tell you, I feel like, I don't know, when at MSG anyway, when he did it, and the other few times, he does it with Fish, he really has started to take, like you just said, that front, like he likes to come out and do his little dance and kind of like get in that real lead spot, in the spotlight, kind of away from his microphone, and kind of like does his little in place kind of the crowd, and then kind of goes back behind it and starts doing his thing. So he definitely does take advantage of that. And I think, like you said, when we talked to Guitar Rig about that, you and I, of course, were kind of like making those, we're like, when he goes, and he actually knew what we were talking about some of the times, and he did explain that to us, and like we tried to break down that video with him that time and kind of go over that. But it'd be fun to have him actually come back on and kind of go over some of that stuff and see how the rig is now.
Oh yeah.
Did any of you guys watch that video where Trey goes through and he does the whale sound and says how he has the Keller Williams kind of, he can loop a guitar sound and then play over top of it, which I love, because that way it opens up a lot of songs. You can lay down a rhythm track almost and then still solo over top of it,
I like to call them the phasers. Personally, I don't think I think there's actually really a phaser thing. That's a guitar thing. I should know better. But I like to call them the phasers because I always think of like Star Trek and them shooting those phasers,
Personally,
phasers
I love all of your descriptions for things. The Scooby-Doo,
Scooby-Doo legs. It's similar to Scooby-Doo legs, but what it really is, in 3.0, really kind of like after 2016, he really started laying into that wow, 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 wow. And then he's playing, and then it's another loop, right? Then it's wah, 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 wah. Wah, wah, underneath, and then he'll go right. So it's almost in some ways like
what
five. So
he's got layers going.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's like when he's really feeling it. That's when and the difference between now kind of and back, because he was experimenting with all these things in the late 90s and in 2.0, but he's not in that headspace where it gets so whacked out that you're like, it's like this wave of sound at you that you can't really, it gets uncomfortable. It really, he's so in it, kind of, it just always fits,
The tube screamer, that's my favorite thing. But I don't even know what it does, but it's got a cool name.
Tube screamers are cool. Love the tube screamers. Laser beams is what I like to call them. Laser beams. They had actual laser beams though at MSG, which I thought was insane. Which we should talk about that MSG survey, Tim, up there.
Yeah, definitely. We can do that right now.
Jam Base. Scotty B.
Cool graphs.
Yeah.
What song won Best Jam?
Well, you're getting ahead
of ourselves.
Yeah.
Did any of you guys vote in it? I did.
I did. I filled it out.
You did too, Kev? Yeah, I voted in it too.
And I was
four
honest.
People there.
I was honest because it asked COVID questions.
Yeah,
and I was like, I don't know how many people lie, but it said, "Did you wear a mask?" I was like, "What mask? What's that?"
I don't think a lot of people. I think a lot of people took it honestly, though. I think I don't know, but I think a lot of people answered honestly. At least the way the survey came out with a lot of the answers kind of was what I expected to see. So I feel like it was pretty honest down the line with how people responded, which is good. Kind of like what they did after Vegas too when they did that survey.
Yeah. I think April 21st was the winner for I'm sorry.
Show?
Yeah, April 22nd. It edged out April 21st by 1%.
Yeah. So April 21st is the show that beat April 22nd.
No, April 22nd won. April
Okay, sorry.
21st came in second place.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that makes. I mean, I think everybody's universally was behind the gag, right? I think that's one of the more popular gags, especially nowadays. And then I think I personally, regardless of any of the gag stuff, my favorite set of the whole run is the second set of 422, which I absolutely love, which is the Set Your Soul Free, has the Fuego in there.
Right.
Just nails set. It's like a 5-song set, real good stuff. So, I think to me, it makes sense that 422 still, but that just shows how much
the
love
421 show. I think 421 was the best show. My favorite set was the last night 4, the first set, just because it was all bangers. It was just
I think if you took that first set and then the 21st second set and made a show out of that would be kind of my
that's your
dream
Cornell
show.
That's your Cornell
it is, it really is, because that tweezer jam, as I've said multiple times, I just want to live inside that tweezer jam. It's
a great tweezer,
amazing. So that was just
absolutely. So what else they got on there? Do you have it pulled up, or you can share your screen?
I do have it pulled up. I could share my screen if I wanted to.
Yeah, check it out. We love our friends at Jam Base. We don't mind, showing them some love, because we've had Scotty Bernstein on. We love Scotty B, a friend of the show.
There we go.
Like to say,
nice. Look at that producing skill.
Oh, definitely. It's better run than a lot.
Yeah, 64% of people like this, which is, you know what, for something new that Fish did, that's a lot of people not complaining, which is really nice to see.
That might as well be unanimous. I mean, a 64%. I mean, think about it honestly in terms of our elections nowadays, just period, right? Our elections in politics, whatever it is. You don't get 65% at any vote. It doesn't matter if it's like a serial killer.
Mandate.
Yeah, if it's a serial killer against like Mother Teresa, serial killer gets at least 45% of the vote. Like 64% is a landslide.
I think this a bit worse than average. This 5%.
Trolls.
I bet you that's the percentage of Twitter users that are Fish fans.
We're not all trolls.
Well, I like that. Not sure edged out a bit worse than average with 6 to 5 there. Like, I don't know.
I need to process it. People need to process, man. They need a little more time.
There's this 1% that said that it's much worse than average.
Now those are your real trolls. Like those are that's brutal. But even looking at all the positivity there, you got 24, 19, and 44. That's substantial. Like that's
what does that mean?
Enjoyed themselves.
What does that mean? Who's Llama?
Llama's on vacation.
He's doing a hell of a job producing it, too. If he's back there, we're not sure where Llama's at right now. We have been talking about Fish. We haven't talked a ton about really the big band of the moment, Spin Doctors. We'll get to them.
We will get
in this universe.
In this where we're at right now is Big Spin Doctors. Time.
So what did people think the jam of the run was there, Llama?
All right,
because I already know
that's what you want to talk about. We're gonna
wait. Go back up first. Stop. Go back up because the question right before that was the MVP. Let's go to that first.
Oh, the MVP.
Oh my goodness. Let's go. Let's pick a topic and stick with it here for me, guys.
Go MVPs. So we got Trey and Fishman, huh? Oh yeah, look at that. Pretty close.
That's within the margin of error, though, between Trey and Fishman.
Yeah. No, I voted for
nonsense.
Fish. Who'd you vote for on that, Kev?
I voted for Paige.
Okay.
Really? Why?
You're one of those 9.
I was enjoying what Paige was laid back. He only sang 2-3 songs, maybe tops the whole time, but he was just doing his job. He was there.
I like this.
That's what the MVP does. Definitely. That sounds like a real. That sounds like the qualifications of an MVP. Just sitting there doing your job.
You know what? Like Cal Ripken Jr. He's an MVP because he showed up every day and did his job. His career is not that spectacular for all the games he played. I think he hit into more double plays than anybody, but he showed up every day and did what he had to do, the little things.
Listen,
he showed up every day and hit into a double play. So
exactly. Did you know there was other baseball players besides Baltimore Orioles? I don't know if you did. There's other teams.
I think there's 29 other teams.
There is 29 apparently. But this to me is nonsense. Okay, and I'm with my guy right here. I'm with my guy right here, Makita, and I'm gonna bring this up. The Wody is right on the money here, and we don't agree all the time. I mean, I think he'd agree that we don't agree. It's kind of our thing. It's kind of, so I'm gonna really point out that me and him agree on this. And so Mike is woefully underrepresented in this poll. He absolutely was the MVP of this run. And there's many times where many folks the songs are completely falling apart. And Mike actually, so to me, Mike, I saw many, comments about how happy Mike looked on this run, how kind of much more into it and engaged Mike was this run. And I would agree with that. I thought that came through at least as a couch tour person. I just thought, I'm a Mike guy on this MVP vote here. So,
well, what I like is that in third place was Not Sure. Like Not Sure beat out Paige and Mike as far as I don't really know.
Almost Paige and Mike combined.
Do you think that shows that like 23% of Fish fans are just there for the music? They don't really care about like who's the MVP or what the best GM is. They're just living in the moment and enjoying it.
And I think it's more that they're just very democratic and don't want to pick a favorite. They just love all four of them and what they do, which is fine too. I mean,
So
but
one out of four Fish fans need to shit or get off the pot. Well, this is where we're going with this.
It's kind of sad that Kuroda isn't an option on there.
Agreed.
Man, no doubt.
He would probably get more than Paige.
Probably, and it would probably split that Not Sure vote a little bit more down.
He would pull all his votes. Paige would have like 1%. Mike have like 6%. Kuroda would be in a strong third.
It would be interesting to see where he would line up in that. To be honest with you, I'd like to know that. That's Spin Doctors. See that? See who would be the MVP of Spin Doctors? Chris Barron.
He knows.
There we go.
Absolutely.
So let's move on to what Kev really wants to talk about here. He's all over.
I mean, the top three I can't really argue with because at least it's nice and close. But that Simple Jam, while it's awesome and goes into, I think this is what I talked to you guys about this. I think it won because it kind of gets a little dark and dirty and goes into that egg in a hole and kind of gets a little nasty in there. Personally, you know how I feel. Tweezer was what I would have put Tweezer and then Ghost and then probably Simple maybe after that. But I still like that Down with Disease that we got night one and that Set Your Soul Free to Fam's point would probably be my third or fourth choice right there because that thing just ripped as always. But
personally, I loved that Simple. It was really great.
Yeah.
Oh,
I hear you. It was great. It was great. How did you go?
The No Man's was really good. It was a really good No Man's, but it was No Man's.
We're missing. Again. Let's comment on that. Llama isn't here because Llama. No, hold on. Llama hates Simple. I mean, if Llama was here, he'd be furious at this poll right now. But Llama, but Tim, if I remember, I think Tim was even more mad about Llama hating Simple than he was me with Gumbo, right? Like, I mean, I think so it makes sense that Weekend Wook up there would be.
I almost kicked him out of Wook Plus for that Simple take. It was,
that's such a bad take.
Sometimes he's just, that guy wants to step on a soapbox and, makes that. It's kind of like with that. What is that? Cowherd or somebody, making those outlandish takes. That Llama.
The one I think that's too low is that Wolfman's. I thought even going back and listen to that one again, that thing rips like that. Not that Wolfman doesn't usually rip, but that one was really, really a fucking shred fest in that thing. And I feel like it's not only 3 votes and it's pretty far down there. Like I think it should be a little bit higher for sure.
Now, to be fair, this is percentages, not votes. Like, so it's 3% of
of voting.
380 people or whatever.
Yeah. So
I don't see Reba on there though.
I don't see Reba on there, and I see Ghost at number 2, the champ. So again, flaunting the belt.
Who yelled no? What was that?
the Peanut Gallery, our live studio audience in this verse.
No, not Ghost. No.
That was perfect timing.
And I think the rest of this thing gets into stuff that maybe we don't want to talk about.
Wait, you mean the rest of the poll? Scroll down. What's next? Is this where we get into kind of the COVID situation?
Yeah, the ugly stuff.
The ugly stuff.
I mean, it's high. I mean, look at that. Yes, it's
How many caught
positive.
COVID?
I like how it's in
34,
the
that's like
red,
a
too.
third of the people there.
That was
crazy.
a lot.
I thought
was
like
a lot.
70% of the people that I was with, like you and Wook
Tim
and
a lot of us got it. Yeah.
7 out of 10 of you got it.
But
I'm
I
just
like this
how did
though
I
too.
not?
Most fans continue to feel safe at shows, which I mean, overall is a good thing. People still want to go see shows. It's just, how do you what's your safety measure as far as going to that and doing that? And I think with summer tour, it'll be a lot better since it's all outdoors and, kind of like how fall was and stuff. Hopefully it'll mitigate some of that spread and whatnot, but just be safe out there. That's all. Have fun and be safe.
Yeah.
That's all you can do.
And I think the uniqueness of our fan base and our community is really makes this, kind of more of a thing. And that may be something that we're also going to have to accept too, is if we're going to have multi-night runs that are indoors, right, that are indoor shows, it's going to be something, numbers are going to look like this because again, if Rage Against the Machine plays 5 nights, it's 5 different crowds. Right. And MSG
it's spread over 7 nights too.
And
it's spread over 7 nights.
And it's spread right, exactly, where you're not going probably 4 nights in a row. And so
what the Dead used to do for New Year's? They play the 27th, 28th, take off the 29th, play the 30th and 31st, which might be a model.
Absolutely. I think it'll be much more days between and things like that you'll see if you're going to have more multi-night runs like this, because it may be a necessity.
Well,
but
the last 2 they did were COVID spreaders. The Halloween and this one, they were both indoor 4-night things.
Yeah, not Mexico though. Mexico seemed to have been okay. I mean, they did have different security checks and vax checks down there for that precaution-wise, but it was outdoors at the beach but still travel and stuff. I mean, it's still, it still did a good job. Like we didn't hear a lot about that one. So I like this one though, the holiday thing. I think I voted for Cinco de Mayo. I thought they should do a Cinco de Mayo
for your birthday
for me. Yeah, exactly. Bring out a mariachi band. That'd be fun.
I would like to see them play on January 6th.
I know
do, the 12th night when Carnival starts. That would be cool.
I know that T-Strong, if T-Strong were here, he would know that Fish playing a Cinco de Mayo show that is Cinco de Mayo themed in any way is probably not the best idea. Now, sadly, it is your birthday, which that's, if they play a full-on Travis tribute show for your birthday, then let's do that. But I don't know that a Cinco de Mayo Fish show is
you open with Mexican cousin. You have tacos for everybody to eat.
You bust out the Cayman review.
Norse
does Cayman review.
Norse, take it easy, Norse. Listen, I'm just saying, Norse. It's just, to me, it's not. I don't know that I trust them on that particular holiday.
I like Ben's idea though. They should do like the Dead did the 4th of July when they did the Fare Thee Well. That was a really fun weekend, doing like a 4-show run across 4th of July and stuff, or a 3-show run across that, and then culminating with a nice big firework thing and stuff. That would be fun.
Blues Traveler, who everyone loves in this scene right now. Everyone's big Blues Traveler fans, which John Popper has really endeared himself to the community in every way. The more you learn about John Popper, the less you sadly like him. But I'll just say, since we're talking about Spin Doctors and Blues Traveler, they always played a Red Rocks.
Red Rocks every year. I went many years. I went to those
I went
shows.
and had a blast. If you want to actually look down on fireworks, right? It's really weird because they don't allow fireworks in Red Rocks Park, it's a state park, but the whole city underneath the mountain is blowing up underneath you. So you're literally like watching the show as like fireworks are weirdly again underneath you basically because you're way up on that mountain. It's again just a really.
And what's really funny to that, fam, is if you're down in front, you'll hear the people up top cheering and oohing and awing as the fireworks are going off, and you're like, what is going on as they're playing? And you're like, it's not the damn fireworks that you can't see because you're right, the stage is right there, but it's really funny.
T, were you there in 94 when Panic opened up for Blues Traveler?
Well, that's what I was going to say. Panic actually did the 4th of July before Blues Traveler did. They did a couple years of it or show, and then Blues Traveler kind of took that over and did it every year.
The only time I've seen a full widespread set was when they opened for Blues Traveler that summer at Merriweather. Red Rocks. It was '94.
Yeah. And Fish had
played. Big Head Todd and the Monsters played too.
Yeah.
It was huge.
Todd, man.
Huge, dude. Boulder samples. Big Head Todd. That was my high school, man. Big Head Todd samples opening for Big Head Todd up at the Fox Theater and stuff, and in Vail all the time.
We're in the Generation X universe here, and we're in the early '90s college scene.
If Soul Asylum starts getting played, and we hear some Runaway Train, I'm walking out.
But Fish, to Ben's point, also Fish has actually played a couple legendary July 4th shows. So
Rage,
it's not
killing in the name.
Yeah, it's not unheard of for Fish to play that holiday, but I love the idea of making it more of a tradition. And again, it makes more sense. Again, it's during the summer. Right, it's where you can, again.
Trey played at Montauk or whatever that Peach Fest is last year on 4th of July, didn't
he? Yes.
Yes. Yeah. It was that weekend at least. I know one of those days was the 4th of July of it.
It's funny. I'm surprised they haven't done anything with it. Like how Labor Day is always at Dick's, and to your point, Blues Traveler owns Red Rocks did for a long time there. I'm surprised Fish hasn't really. Maybe it's just during the middle of summer and it never really lines up. But it's funny that they've never kind of done, because it's one of those long weekends, kind of like Labor Day, where you can get away and take advantage of the holiday and see an extra show or two in there. So. It's funny that they haven't lined that up with Summer Tour more and done more around that and become a thing where you're like, oh, you're going to the Fish show for 4th,
Yeah.
Too much hype. People expect something, I think, is part of it. People will, it's 4th of July. Are they going to bust out American Woman? Will they do Killing in the Name again?
Because no one expected anything on that 420 show, right? Right,
exactly. We never had expectations going in, ever.
A whole set list in my head.
Right up or leave me alone, man. Maca Super Policeman, and then they're gonna play,
What's funny too, though, is as soon as you think they're not gonna do anything, is when all of a sudden they come out and bust something out to you, and you're like, oh, we should have probably seen that one coming. But then when you think they're gonna do something, they don't do it, and you're like, oh, just like in Vegas when they did the numbers set and the animal set and that kind of stuff.
Right.
Yeah. Didn't see that coming.
But if the 4th is on a Tuesday, you know what I mean?
But that's what I mean is it's a holiday, so you still have that off, so you're still taking kind of that time around that off. And I mean, it's not like they don't play weekday shows as it is during the summer tour and stuff, so it's not like it's all weekend. So I would just think that's one of those times when you'd have an extra day.
Monday and Thursdays they tend to take off a lot, even though the first show of the tour was Thursday last summer.
Yeah,
and honestly, come on, they're family people now, right?
Yeah,
and some of it is a level of July 4th is kind of a family holiday, and that maybe they're always kind of touring in the summer. Typically, like we've talked about, it may be kind of one of those times where they go, we're just going to block that a little bit off, so we can have some actual family life as well, because I think that's the piece we kind of we all want them, and I'm the first one that just wants them to play more shows, because I want them to come here, and I want them, but part of it is
come to fucking my town.
Exactly. Stop it. Stop this. Stop it. Stop the listen. All this Baker's Dozen, Undermine's Head Baker's Dozen. I know our guy Tim up there. Weekend Wook, you had a great quote on the Undermine Baker's Dozen, since you were at every Baker's Dozen show. Pretty amazing.
Yeah. And it was great.
Yeah, and for me, honestly, Baker's Dozen is cool, and as incredible as it was, I enjoyed it incredibly. It's a kick in the nuts. Because it is, because there's 13 shows, man, that one place is getting, while my place is getting zero show. This many shows, I can't even count the many shows on my hands. How many shows one place is getting, and I'm getting zero. So again, it's fun times, and this rumor going around that there's going to be another Baker's Dozen type scenario. This is a rumor happening. This is thumbs down. Why would we do that again? Why would we do that again?
What if it's biased?
What if it's in Kansas City though?
if it's only basically acceptable if it's in Kansas City. That's the only, or it's
Well-
they do a 13-run Midwest tour. Go to Des Moines, go to freaking Duluth, Minnesota, go to freaking I don't know,
Fargo,
just the
South
most
Dakota.
Fargo. Exactly, go to the states that you've never played. There's still like 3 states they've never played. I think the Dakotas are actually I think they might at least 2 of them.
Alaska, Hawaii.
Alaska,
and
Hawaii, and then but
all those rumors that they were going
Idaho?
to do a Hawaii show someday, and then it kind of turned into Mexico. But those were great rumors back.
Have they
Back
played
when.
Idaho?
Idaho.
Yeah,
I'm not
yes,
sure.
the Boise bag. The Boise bag is Boise, Idaho. One of the most famous AC/DC bags, right? Is Boise,
Can I
Idaho.
just say about they're talking about Monday shows? I've seen Fish 6 times on Monday. That's
Who said
weird
that?
people are saying they've never seen him. Scott said it, and somebody else up
Yeah,
there.
I see a couple of
You've
them in
seen
the chat.
Fish 6 times on Monday?
Yes.
Yeah, that's because you were seeing them a little.
At bars.
Yeah,
well,
you were
back in the day, yeah, exactly.
Oh.
When they toured every other night was a show, or every night was a show. Sure, yeah. Then it's easy to see a Monday show.
200 shows a year, motherfucker.
Yeah, but or do like to that point, fam. Do like what they did with the Fairly Well. I mean, at least that was a little West Coast bias and did the Santa Clara shows. But Chicago,
Right.
it's kind of that midpoint. Not really a midpoint, but they did sort of that midpoint between New York and LA. So
what is the biggest? What is the biggest city near you? Is it
St.
Me? What are you talking
Yeah.
about? Yes, me, St. Louis. I mean,
St.
other
Louis.
than we are a big
Right.
city, by the way. So I don't super love the implications of what you've just said here. Like,
I'm saying, like, I live close. DC's the closest big city to me. Baltimore's a little city. Is like what I'm saying.
I got you.
Yeah,
I'm feeling you. Yeah, no, St. Louis is bigger than us, and it's been a while. I mean, we got those 2 shows in St. Louis in 2019, which was wonderful.
Oh,
which
the
was-
tour openers. Yeah,
This
those
was
were
a tour
the
opener,
cup,
which is
the
it's
Stanley
just-
Cup winning game. Come on,
Yeah,
I mean,
those were
that
fun
was
shows.
amazing.
But again, it's not home because it's 3 hours. It's still 2.5, 3 hours, But I'd love to go see our guy, Father Chris, by the way, who we again want to say hello again to, and we love you out there as our St. Louis guy. So yeah, I'm all for it. Again, I'm probably going to be on the couch most likely most of the time anyway. You know what I mean? So I kind of get it.
I was at MSG. I sat for most of all 4 shows. Sat in my seat, put my feet up. Everybody was dancing around me. I could see above the people, and I like it.
Okay.
Simon Calfunkel said you looked very relaxed when I saw you, and I was like, yeah, I just sat there. And couch tour is cool, but I like being around the people. Is my thing. I wish I could bring my couch with me. I just set it up, and just kick back.
There you go.
That would be key.
That would be key, and I'm surprised you could see so well. You did the same thing at Dick's though last year when we were hanging out. Like you kind of just sat there and watched the show from your seat. I mean, it's sometimes you got to do that.
Kev, here's the deal. Here's what you do, dude, and you can do this now. If you notice, actually, in a lot of NFL cities, right, it's very expensive to, especially in Kansas City. Actually, they did this a lot, and they actually tried to price people out of this. But just bring your TV to the venue. Don't buy a ticket. Don't go in the show. Tailgate, hang out in the lot, get there early, then set your TV up, couch tour it from the actual lot. Don't go in, right? And then you can sit there, get your comfy chair.
That's not a bad idea, fam.
It
And actually,
isn't
if you
that
have like
bad.
a motor
The more I'm
home or
thinking
a
about
van or something, it's like very like tailgating at football games. A lot of those guys don't even go to the game; they just sit in the tailgate, watch the game from there, and keep grilling all night.
Yeah.
Hey, why not? I mean, that's not a bad idea, actually. That'd be
make
kind
some
of
money
because you could just stream it from there, hook up a Wi-Fi thing, stream the show, get to know your local
Get a
balloon guy that's
tank.
walking around there, and have that'd be amazing.
Get a tank. You can just sit there and fucking suck gas.
Yeah, perfect. I really like that idea, fam. That's not bad.
Yeah. So I mean, in some ways, it is actually really a.
It's the future.
Yeah, exactly. It is. It may be kind of
In the
where
metaverse. Once we get in the metaverse, you won't have to worry about it anyway. Like you can just watch the show in the metaverse and have concerts in there. Not to
Exactly.
be confused with the multiverse.
That's right.
Speaking of verses coming together, what about Les joining Billy Strings this
Oh
weekend?
my God.
And Bobby.
And
Bobby
Yeah.
and the Bluegrass Boys, whatever his name is, Ralph Stanley, and
What are you talking, Ralph Stanley? You're talking about, I think you're talking about Ronnie McCrory. Is who you're talking about? The McCrories.
Okay,
Yeah.
Ronnie McCrory.
Ralph Stein.
See, this is what I'm talking about. This is the kind of thing I'm talking about with the Billy Strings, the folks that are getting on the Billy Strings bandwagon, man, and it's fine. I'm fine with it.
I love when I listen to him do the traditional like bluegrass stuff, like John Hardy and stuff like that. He sounds to me, if I close my eyes, like Tony Rice. He sings like him. He does that flat picking guitar. And Tony Rice is one of my favorite things in the world to listen to. So that's, but when he, I wish there was a drummer sometimes or a percussionist maybe.
Yeah, I can see that.
We need Jeff from Goose. Get Jeff from Goose up there, man, and just turn him all the way down. Just turn him all the way down like Goose does anyway. It won't even matter. Get Ciro up there banging on some aluminum foil. Just get
slapping fillipers together, just doing whatever he's got.
Jiminy Christmas. All I'm saying, again, it's fine. Well, I'm not gonna go public with my feelings.
He's gonna get so huge. He's touring with Willie Nelson this summer. All of a sudden, he's gonna go mainstream.
He already has. We were talking about this in with my buddies who live in Denver and stuff, and they were saying, you know, like what was it, 2017, 18? He was playing small Fox Theater stuff, and now he's selling out Red Rocks. I mean, he's made that jump.
Yeah,
right.
Through quarantine, even like through the COVID years, and you know, he was very active on social media and stuff, and doing some of those indoor shows type things and stuff. And he really played it right, and has really grown. I mean, it'd be interesting to see his trajectory with Gooses, you know, because they both
get A pluses. They both get A pluses for quarantine.
Completely with how their growth has been in the last.
I mean, I think only
years.
the Spin Doctors came out better.
That's the only, I mean, that's kind of the bar that everyone goes for, though, is the Spin Doctors, and then you know, obviously they're on top of the mountain, so you know.
Poor fam.
But maybe honestly, we're joking around.
You know, it's good when fam's speechless. Like he can't even formulate his argument. He's so disappointed. He's like, I can't even talk about this.
It's fine. I'm happy for Billy Strings. I'm happy for folks who enjoy Billy Strings. I think it's nice to see bluegrass be kind of lifted into kind of. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. I come from I want to be careful because I don't want to like talk about, because I do know folks that are very steeped in bluegrass tradition. Okay. Right. I just find it to be kind of one of those, you pay your dues kind of play, you know, worlds. And I find kind of this, you know, kind of meteoric rise to be like, because I don't know how many, you know, bluegrass, you know, festivals and, you know, there's a whole circuit, there's a whole thing, you know what I mean? And like, so I don't know. And part of this concept of like, we know that certain, and believe me, a guy by the name of Marty Stewart sat in with Billy, who I love. Marty Stewart,
best fucking mullet ever.
One of the most incredible head of hairs, other than Andy Michaels. Andy Michaels, Marty Stewart are basically 1 and 2 on hair.
Andy Michaels is the Spin Doctors of hair.
Is 100%. Marty Stewart is the Marty Stewart actually of hair, and he
in any universe,
he's a phenomenal. And so I love people sitting in now. So when Marty Stewart sits in with Billy Strings, I'm like, oh man, cool. But then also like 2 weeks ago, Post Malone sat in with Billy Strings, and that's where I go like I can't.
And they did the old Cocaine Blues. I think they did a fine
of course they did. This is not, I mean, come on. Them doing any other song would have actually been really surprising, right? That it didn't have any drug reference.
When Bobby came out, my big takeaway was Bobby can play those songs at the right tempo. It was my big takeaway.
You know, what was interesting to me was when we had Benji on at the fan art show, and he was talking about that and how Bobby is a storyteller, and the reason why he has slowed down the songs is the story. Like he likes to tell the story with the song, and so by slowing it down, it's more of a storyteller campfire situation of like getting it across.
Break out the granola,
right? And it's sort of like, you know, telling the story, like going through it, kind of like, you know, how Jack Straw is a great story, you know, and so like by slowing it down, it's one of those, okay, let's really bring it all in. So I thought that was a really interesting thing to say about that.
That comment right there might be the Spin Doctors comment of the night. So I got a question for you, fam. How do you feel about Sturgill Simpson? That's another bluegrass kind of guy who had a meteoric rise.
Well, that's okay. So
Where is he now?
so Sturgill is a really also Sturgill to me is he's very Waylon Jennings. He's very Merle Haggard, which to me though isn't so it goes like which isn't bluegrass though. So I want to be careful. That's like old to me. It's like old school class. So
the outlaw country guys, right?
Right. Sturgill's kind of gone on a really interesting kind of progression in his career, right? So where he's gone from like the old school country guys, then he put out that rock record. I mean that one record,
really good.
Dude, unreal. And then he puts out a couple just phenomenal bluegrass records with. Now hear me out. When you look at Sturgill's album, okay, and the musicians he brought in, those are steeped veteran bluegrass musicians, right? That came in and are like, these are, again, it's not Post Malone. It's not, you know what I mean? Like, it's not even Bobby, who Bobby comes out.
Post Malone is probably around Billy's age. They're probably
It's fine. I can't get mad. Trey, I watched Trey play with Kid Rock. Literally one of the most worst human beings.
The night Esther was murdered.
Anti-music, like literally, that's the opposite of art that Kid Rock does. That's the death of art. If like it's the worst possible. Like Post Malone kicks Kid Rock's ass. Like he's 100 times better than Kid Rock. So don't get me wrong. Like I get it that you sit in and you have friends that are interesting characters, but I just like for me, bluegrass is just, and Sturgill did it right to me, where you kind of. It's a traditional bluegrass record where like I just don't see Bill. And again, I'm happy for him. Here's what I would also say too, and I'm gonna get off the rant. Okay, Billy somehow gets away with like, in the sense of like his fans are rabid, right? I mean, I have never seen like a fan base
better than Goose or.
Man, here we go. But that's what I'm saying, Kev. What I don't see is the backlash on Billy. Right? Does that make sense? And there is a firm and solid backlash on Goose, right? I mean, it is literally like 50-50.
Feathers get all ruffled.
But I think that's because Goose is coming into a very crowded field of jam band people. And so there's a lot to compare them to. You know what I mean? There's a lot there all the way going back, like we were talking about with Spin Doctors and Blues Traveler and all those bands even before them. To now with still Fish and all these bands that are jam bands that they have to compete with Billy, there's not a lot of competition there and there's not a lot that's like him, so he kind of fills that void by himself, so it's very easy.
He owns the market. He cornered the market,
right? And it's down the line. You either like him or you don't. It's not like, oh well, him compared to this band, they're so much better than him. You know what I mean? It's
didn't we have Sturgill Simpson's bass player on?
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah,
he was great.
Thank you very much.
Gosh,
you can get back and check that out in season something, episode something.
Yeah. And while you're checking it out, make sure you smash that like and subscribe button.
That's right.
Here's another thing that happens, okay? And I'm gonna ultimately agree with Wody here. And I
don't know what that means, but
yeah, I love it. So and this is a conversation that kind of does happen where like it gets. When some of these bands surpass the bands that you love, right? That are very much like those bands, right? There is a level of like, and it's hard, right? Exactly. And so I think that's one of the things that's happened with Goose, right? Is that there's a lot of other jam bands that came up through the ranks, and in some ways, like
they were opening for Pigeons,
earn their dues, exactly, right? And then for whatever reason, they've surpassed them. I think Yonder and Jeff Austin, for me, it's a lot of other bluegrass artists that are out there. David Mayfield, a lot of other people that you go, why aren't they big? Why weren't they? Why aren't we talking about them? Why are we talking about this guy? And I think we've got to be careful, of that. Like it's not their fault, that's the piece, that you got to be careful about. But it's always something that, to me, in your mind, we've talked about it. We can kind of go back. Why is it Fish and not Spin Doctors? I think there's plenty of things to kind of
bouncing around the room. I mean,
bouncing around the room didn't make a hit. I mean, the question then becomes, if Little Miss Can't Be Wrong if Two Princes isn't a hit and then Bouncing Around the Room is a hit, do they have a completely exactly multiverse of trajectories where Spin Doctors now is, like you said, Kevin, the 4.0, and we're over here going, God damn that, Two Princes, dude, that Two Princes.
Fish is doing one of those Blockbuster 90 tours with like 4 other bands, Soul Asylum and Fish.
Exactly. Bands like The Work, Anderson, exactly. There was a million bands out there that could have easily fit into this Fish space.
Well, and look at, to your point, even like String Cheese and Government Mill and Mule and like God Street One, and those bands that like never really kind of kept their, here, and some of them then fell
what
off,
happened to
some of them
God
broke
Street?
up, and some of them had, issues.
Low
And
Paper was a great songwriter.
How about there was 2 bands right there, right? There was, how about What Happened to These Guys? It's kind of a West Coast crew. Tea Leaf Green, right? Yep. Tea Leaf Green was a big, like, which kind of fit into this little like jam bandy world kind of too. And it's like, where are they at, But some of these bands I don't know ever went for Fish's market, too. I think that's the other thing, that they really were looking at kind of different niches to get into. And so
a
bands
couple of them, though, just like Spin Doctors and Blues Traveler, crossed over into sort of that pop realm and got on pop radio and the radio and stuff like that. And that, while it helped them for a while, it also ended up hurting them in the long run, because then it kind of became
you lose your street cred.
Like it was like, when Fish got on MTV, with Hoist, when Hoist came out and they had like video on MTV, and you're like, oh boy, is this like, what are we doing? But then they were able to still get away from that. And I think honestly, the hiatus really helped them, because it was like right at that time of holy crap, they're getting into this, like, they're not as good as they used to be and things are falling apart. And so to their credit, they stopped and like took off, and thank God they came back. But when they came back, we were all so jonesing for it and ready for it. And then they came back like a fucking freight train, and have been going ever since. So that kind of helped them, because they didn't have that whole, their down cycle, they were able to step away from and take that time. Whereas I feel like other bands down cycle just kind of crumbled them. And even when they tried to come back, it was too late and it was over.
Do you think that Goose has motivated other bands? They see what they're doing, like an older band like a Disco Biscuits or Twitter, they're like, we need to step up our game. Look at these young bucks.
Disco Biscuits. Well, and it's funny that do you think a band like that could ever get out of that realm that they're in? Because I don't think Disco Biscuits could ever get to the Goose level now. You know what I mean? They have their kind of, and like Umphreys too. I think they just kind of have their set in zone of here's we are, which is what's amazing about Goose, is that they've been able to keep breaking through those ceilings and getting up there. It'll be interesting to see if they can sustain that and keep going, or if there'll be that plateau and kind of fall off valley thing for them as well. Who knows? Like we've talked about, does the lead singer leave and go to start a solo career, like thing, right? And it kind of becomes the almost famous situation, and that kind of
like there was a band called The Bridge that was pretty big in Baltimore. I guess they got, and Chris Jacobs was their guitar player, and he broke the band up and went out on his own. And I don't think he's ever really blown up that much, but yeah, it was at that point. I don't think that they'll have that problem, because Goose has gotten big enough where it's like Fam says, with the traction, and it's going up, and it'll remain interesting and be financially viable.
Well, I think that Goose did a good job of melding like that 2000s indie sound into their jams, so it gives you something a little fresh, something for the younger crowd. Right. And I don't think you get that with a bunch of the other bands that they definitely sound very Gen X.
Right.
It's generational.
Other bands are sitting around going, if only we had Goose's numbers.
Yeah, no, see, I wonder about that. See, because again, I think that I think we look at it different than they do, right? I really do. And I think that bands like Umphreys, bands like Mo, they're fine. You know what I mean? Like, I think they're
to that point, Fam. I think every band's fine. You look at like Journey playing casinos or something like that, or and you're like, oh, how can they be doing that now? To them, they're like, we're still playing. We still have fans that want to come see us, and we're still doing what we love doing. So whether it's a casino or we're selling out like Red Rocks, or we're selling out MSG, it's still playing music with my friends and doing the thing that I've always loved doing. So, I think in addition, you take what you can get, and it's a ride. It's always like, maybe you never know what's going to hit. You never know what's going to be awesome.
It doesn't. You don't think that it becomes a job at some point, and then you feel like you have to bail out of it?
Well, yeah, I think when it does, that's when it's time to kind of, reevaluate the situation. It's either that or when you get too heavy into drugs and alcohol and just start falling off that way. So it's kind of like, but you also surrender sometimes to the corporation. I mean, I remember in the 90s, like Red Hot Chili Peppers, Anthony Kiedis was like, we'll never sell out. We're like these hardcore guys. 3 years later, they're in Gap ads, and it's just like one of those things that happens. Like it's the nature of the beast, because all of a sudden you go, oh shit, we can get how much money for being in a Gap ad? Oh, fuck yeah, let's do that. I need another swimming pool.
I heard a thing today of Trey talking about Snapple tried to buy Sample in a Jar to make Snapple in a Jar ads. And he said he was being serious. It was some little radio clip.
That would be funny.
But see, that's that moment though, when they come to you and they say those things to you, and you're kind of like, it's like hearing fish on Fox when we go to commercial during football games and stuff, and everybody freaks out like, oh my god, it's so great, like they're playing Fish. But I guarantee you, if you hear Fish in a commercial, it's not going to be the same response from people. Like it'll be like, what the fuck?
Remember when Nike? I don't know Nike about that. When Nike got Revolution, when Michael Jackson bought the Beatles catalog and then sold the rights, that was like Rolling Stone spilled so much ink over that. And then the next thing you know, the Who sells Teenage Wasteland, Bob O'Reilly to CSI.
Yep,
for their theme song.
I think again, it comes down to one. Exposure, like you're still getting your song out there and more people are going to hear it because it's in these ads, and to the money, I mean, like you're not gonna, I'm sorry, as you get older and stuff, you start to realize that, hey, money kind of matters, like it's great to do it for the love of the game, but also why don't I get paid while there's this window to get paid?
Right.
So
see, and I think indie bands took advantage of that, and they had no problem selling out. And it's like it was like an honor to get your music in like an Apple ad, or if it was played at the Apple Showcase or something like that.
That guy who played.
So I think it's a generational thing.
I do too. You're right, Lama. Kind of that into the 90s through the 2000s, that was sort of a badge of honor to get into an Apple ad or have your song in an ad. It kind of flipped the script. It kind of became cool and okay to do that all of a sudden, as opposed to being a sellout and hating on corporate America.
Mark Coran, who played with Rat Dog for a while, was in the band that did the Friends theme song. So he's fucking, he wrote that. He's set for life, huh? Yeah, the Rembrandts. The Rembrandts, Mark Coran. And then he played with Bobby and Rat Dog forever. But I was always like, he's got it made. He could give a fuck what band he's playing with.
Here's a missed opportunity. And we've talked about it a couple times as a parody, but I actually think this should be something that is actually very real and should start happening, is jam band diss tracks. Right. And what needs to start happening is that, an Humphreys, a Mo needs to really just, let a Goose, let, a Disco Biscuits know exactly how they feel about them, and really, and
Goose season, like, Pigeon season,
kind of like rap battles, kind of like
that's
a
what I'm
battle.
saying. These are diss
East Coast,
tracks.
West Coast,
yeah,
100%. A Tupac Biggie situation type thing.
Are they just trading guitar licks?
No, that's part of the beef. So you say,
it's
like
talking shit lyrics. Like, let's have some talking shit lyrics, and like
you can't hit that G chord, like you can't. But real nerdy, jammy, like diss tracks, where they're like, you didn't hit that minor seventh, dude. You really suck.
And like let's get another band named after an animal. Like all kinds of shit.
Yeah, all that kind of fun stuff. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Right, 100%. So that would be incredible. I think that's something that's a really missed opportunity that's happening right now. Is there should be jam band diss tracks.
Toucan band.
Tim, you're so quiet tonight.
I know. I'm letting you guys run with the show just to have
I do want to say real quick, as we're starting to get towards the end of the show, that this week's contest, Scott Makita did win last week's contest. So Scott, you're 1 for 1 right now. But this week's contest is at the beginning of the show, when we hit the multiverse, how many things can you spot that changed on the screen? So go ahead and respond to us on Twitter, on the wook+live Twitter feed, and we will announce the winner and send you a special package in the mail.
You definitely won our special package.
If for some reason
it's very special.
If for some reason you don't want to try to figure it out, you can go to /merch on wookplus.com
and just buy something.
All your needs. all your needs.
Many
We
special
got you.
packages can be delivered to you from Plus. Or if you just want a really special package, just hit up Jacques Renault down there, and he'll send you all kinds of special packages you wouldn't believe. And again, I do want to put this up here because apparently
Scott just comes up with 7.
Well, or Scott's guessing 7, but apparently me bringing up the fact that it's jam band diss tracks. Apparently Scott Makita now is a big Goose fan now because everyone loves everyone, right? And so I didn't know he just became a Goose fan. But congratulations, welcome to the bandwagon, Scott. We appreciate. We're glad you're here. I hope you'll be jamming some Goose anytime now. Thanks for coming. Everyone loves everyone, right? Apparently that's what we need to go by. Scott Makita says that.
Everyone
so I think
loves everyone.
That's
I
right.
like that. I like the shift in the attitude. That's see that he wins one contest and now he's a happy guy.
Yeah, exactly.
I am not Jacques.
There we go.
Yes.
All right. Well, we do have the blog. Should we mention Tim? Big blog.
What's the blog news, Tim?
Yeah, there's going to be a big summer relaunch here of the blog. We're planning on Llama's got a bunch of things planned. I guess he's got some interviews in the work. He's got some pieces working on there, maybe a couple beer pairings, so that way you know what to drink when you're on lot. Yeah, we can reach out to Eve 6, try to get them on. That
He's too big now.
Good.
He's left us behind. I'll always say we'll always have those DMs, Max, and those moments when you said you would be on Wook+. And we do have that's basically I think what the appearance we're going to get from you, and we appreciate that. So thank you, Max.
And we'll continue to reach out to the Spin Doctors and try to get them on the show.
Spin the biggest band really in the jam band scene right now. Spin Doctors.
We do have some good stuff coming up too on the network. We have an interview we're working on getting cut down. We got some special guests coming on. We're gonna have a good NFT talk one of these days with the guy from Pixel Wooks. Will be coming on to talk.
What is up with Bitcoin crashed?
Whew, man, it's rough days in the crypto market right now. Let me tell you, it's not good. It's a bloodbath out there. But you know what they say? Now's the best time to buy. Get in now.
That's right. Buy the dip. Buy the dip.
So
buy the dip. Buy the dip.
How many more days do we got until Fish Tour comes back? It's on the
16th.
27th, right? So we're about 2 weeks away.
Yeah,
About 2 weeks away. I know somebody posted 23 days till Deer Creek. I think somebody said on Twitter or something like that,
which would be Memorial Day weekend.
Yes.
So it's right around the corner, which is super exciting.
Yeah.
Get
I will
back
be
on
counting.
tour. I'm very jealous.
Also, speaking of tour coming up, make sure every night after the show, give us like 15 minutes. We're going to be doing live recaps. We're hoping to get special guests on every night, probably a little smaller format because everybody doesn't want to stay up. But the West Coast people are loving it because the show's over at like 9 o'clock there. It's prime
It's the
time
best.
to get on.
It's the best. I'll be on just like I was in MSG. I will be on every one of them with Kev because nothing I like more than talking about the show that just happened. And I'll be so jealous of all you guys out there at the shows.
It's gonna be good. So look for that. And next week, hopefully, we're in the right multiverse.
Hopefully
we're back on Earth 616.
Yeah. Thanks for watching, guys.
Have a good one.
Yep.
What's Kev doing? Oh, he's changing his poster.
Yeah, because now you're in a different universe.
Ooh. Man, I went to the Goose show. It was great. I bought a poster. I bought the Goose is great. And then it's just like shit talking Goose ever since. Like literally ever since. Like fucking Goose, man. Why everybody? I don't know.
Was an early jumper on the bandwagon in 2020, and it lost its luster quickly for me.
But then you went to the show, and I
loved it, and I will go. I'm going to go see him again this summer because the show is totally different. Being there with all the people and hanging out, it's great. But I don't want to sit and listen to them afterwards. You know what I'm saying?
This universe is great, man.